This is NVHA 260001, our 464th interview overall. It's March the 5th, 2026, and we're in Anderson, Indiana at the home of Mel and Vivian Jackson. First of all, I'd like to thank you for allowing us to come and do this interview.
You're welcome, sir.
Okay, well, let's start off with the basics. What is your full name?
Melvin Allen Jackson.
Now, Melvin or the Allen, are those family names? Or
They are family names.
named after an uncle or something?
Melvin was a Mr. Etchison, a Melvin Etchison in Elwood.
Okay.
So that's where that one came from. Allen is a very common name, just like Jackson is, and we had one other family member that was a cousin of mine that was named Allen on the Jackson side.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. And don't tell me the date of your birth, but the year you were born.
1941.
1941. That was a good year.
War, baby.
Yeah. And what was your highest rank in the military?
E4.
What would that equate to rank-wise?
It was Buck Sergeant before they reverted it to NCO E4.
Okay. Well, Sergeant Jackson, where were you born?
Alexandria, Indiana.
Now, were you born in somebody's home or?
My father built the house I was born in, and he helped deliver me. He was there to cut the cord.
Wow.
I mean, the doctor came and cut the cord, actually.
Yeah.
He was there. He actually did the delivery. The doctors always came to the home back then.
That's very unusual for a man to get involved or even be in the same room for a birth back then.
He was there.
Yeah.
He did do that.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Where was the house located?
It was in Phillips Addition,
Okay.
and which was part of Alexandria, Indiana. At one time, Alexandria was huge, massive city, bigger than Anderson, with because of natural gas, large population, and there was like several different places that were surrounded Alexandria that were in the city limits,
Okay.
and part of the gas people. So Phillips Addition, Scott's Addition, Bunker Hill, Orestes were all part of Alexandria at one time.
I didn't realize it was that big.
It was a pretty good sized city.
Yeah.
There was a murder every day in Alexandria. Back in the day, the Chinese were here to help build the railroads at that time. A lot going on.
So, lost my train of thought here. Well, I take it your mother was there at the time. You said your father was there when you were born. Was your mom there as well?
Definitely.
Okay, good for her. Tell me a little something about your mom. What was her name?
Ruby Vanita Etchison Jackson.
Okay.
She was, a wonderful person. I loved her dearly. She had a mental condition. She had 3 nervous breakdowns in her lifetime. So did her sister. My dad married her when he was young. I always wondered why she had her nervous problems. I mean, it was difficult for her. She was in Logansport, Richmond State Hospital. And, you know, they gave those treatments to her that are today considered horrendous.
Shock treatments?
Shock treatments, electroshocks, ice treatments, dropped you in an ice bath. She was on Thorazine. They brought her back every time. And but it never seemed to hold.
Yeah.
You know, she would be herself and be the person she was, and then she wouldn't. As a child, her mother got black lung, which is TB. My grandmother's brother was a doctor out of Indianapolis,
Okay.
Dr. Wayne Ebert. So he'd come to the house because Emery, my grandfather, had asked him to come out and see if he couldn't take care of the problem. And my mom was told by Dr. Ebert that she would have to go out to the barn, and she would probably be there for a year and nurse her mom back to health. So my mom did do that. So she was a troubled soul with a wonderful personality and a good mother. It wasn't her fault she had that condition.
Oh, no.
I found out later on because one of my sister's daughters, and both of my sister's daughters both started having a problem mentally, and it turned out that there was pressure on the pituitary gland, and there was a tumor, and it depended on where that tumor was, what kind of reactions and what would happen to you with that. And they were both operated on and cleared that out. I did ask my grandfather back in the day and my grandmother that's why my mother had that mental condition and Nalme. And of course they got sort of, no, it wasn't our fault. And I said, I'm not trying to ask you, I'm just trying to figure out what happened, where it came from. So my grandfather gave me a story. And his story was that I'll tell you what I'm not supposed to tell you because I was sworn to secrecy by my family. But back in the day, one of your ancestors was a mountain man. And there was an Indian tribe going down the trail, and they left a woman there to die. And they said she, loco, crazy woman. He took her to be his wife. So they assumed that that's where it came from. And of course, that's because they also, he was called Squaw Man. Yeah. Of course, he would be. Oh, yeah. So that was part of it. So when you talk about my mother, I loved her dearly. And I got to talk to her before she died because she was in diabetes and she didn't know who I was, didn't know who anybody was, and she was on dialysis. And I'd gone up there to see her every year. Every once in a while I'd go up there and she wouldn't know me. And that day I decided I'm going to go up and see Mom and see how she's doing. And when I got there, she was, Melvin, is that you?
Oh,
I went, wow. I said, yeah, that's me. She said, oh, I'm so sorry. I said, sorry, yes, I'm so sorry for everything that's happened and the way. I said, well, it's not your fault. You know, it's okay. And we sat down and we talked for probably an hour. I was there for an hour, and I can't tell you what all we talked about. It was such a wonderful conversation. That night she died.
Wow.
So, yeah.
There's something to that.
Yeah. I think God allowed me to see her one last time.
You've talked about the bad things about her, but there must have been something that really endeared her to you, besides just being your mother. What was it about her, the good memories you have of her?
Oh, well, she was a farm girl, right? And she was very loving and very kind, and she was sweet and understanding, and you knew beyond a shadow of a doubt if she was one of your children that you were loved. You didn't have to guess that, but when she went off the deep end, you had to question it. Like, well, what happened? What's going on? Because she had multiple personalities. She was schizophrenic. And Nella Mae was catatonic schizophrenic. That was her sister. So when they went off the deep end, one time she was sitting there and we were talking and we were having supper at the time, and then she looked over at me and she looked over to TV. And we hadn't had a TV that long, and she said, people in that TV are talking to me. I said, Mom, That's not right. They're just, that's a TV. They're just talking to everybody. She said, no, they're talking to me. And I knew right then, okay,
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to lose my mom. But no, she had a good heart. She was a Christian woman, and she tried to do her best, and she did do her best when she was normal. Anybody would love to be around her, you know. I don't know. My dad, on the other hand, he could cuss the hat off of a sailor's hat. Hey, I'm gone. And believe it or not, he studied to be a minister when he was younger. So, and he would give me the story about his family. He was like, okay, I studied to be a minister. I was going to go to ministerial college, and I'm sitting in here with this group of ministers, and they were asking me questions, and I knew the answers right away. And they would tell me some of those questions were wrong. And I said, I know they're not right. So I knew right then I couldn't be a minister.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And he said, and my mom we were Dunkards. And they were all on the way to the church, and her bonnet blew off, right? And so she went into the church without her bonnet on.
Oh, boy.
And just like that you think, well, what's wrong with that? Well, you're not going to go into the church, a Dunkard church, without your bonnet on. Mm-hmm. They had a little conclave, and they excommunicated her.
Oh, my word. Oh, wow.
So then, he was really hard, and didn't not like bad about religion. Don't talk to me about religion. Well, do you know Jesus? So what if I do? Satan did and knew him well.
Didn't thought of it that way.
So he was that way.
Yeah.
But he did belong to the Rosicrucians, and I don't know if you know anything about them, but they go back to the Knights Templars.
Let me know if this
And so that's one of those things, that very secretive organization with the Essene religious group, very secretive, just like the Knights Templars were, and back in that time frame. So he had all kinds of stuff from boxes and boxes of materials that he could tell you everything about the Bible, about the Jewish faith, all kinds of stuff. And when he passed away, he was a Christian and because he had serious problems. Said he was 79 years old when he passed, but we put out a victory garden. He taught me how, and he planted all kinds of fruit trees, and he had mechanical skills beyond belief. He was a farm boy. Built the house that I was living in. He'd built one house before that, and he built the house across the street for Mildred Cole. Is it okay? All right. So
We're probably getting a little hum too.
yeah, I imagine. I'm sorry about that.
That's all right.
But
We'll get it.
so he had built that house. He had 4 brothers and a sister, and he lived in Muncie. And he hired out as a farm hand to the Enoch Drum Farm, and so did his brothers and sisters. They lived on a little farmmaker farmette, and they would give the money they made. During the Depression, he made 50 cents an hour, plus room and board at Enoch Drums. And the money went back to his dad, and the boys were required to do the same thing. He wanted to go to high school. He had the 8th grade, and his dad said, no, you need to be working. And his mom put her foot down and said, the boy's going to go to high school. So he got to go to high school, Muncie Burris. So I can tell you that.
That's pretty good.
My mom only got an 8th grade graduation. It was 8th grade, but she did get through the 8th grade. And she did have above a well above a 130 IQ. It's on up behind that. She was pretty intelligent, but and she was a sweetheart. She was. She was a good person.
Well, there's this external person that you see from time to time, and there's also this core of a person, and you got to know the core. And
Right.
you-
I got
you
to
who
know the
she
real.
was.
I knew the real person.
Yeah. Yeah.
The other personalities I knew. That's not my mom.
Yeah.
I knew who my mom was. So you know, I was very fortunate that I did know that. Yeah, very fortunate.
Let's see. Do you have any brothers or sisters?
Yes, I have two sisters, Patricia Ruth and Rosemary. Both are registered nurses. My sister Patricia went to Ball State, and so did Rosemary, and got their RN. Pat married a gentleman named Fred Nessel, whose mom and dad were dairy farmers, and he was U.S. Army, and he was working at Pratt Whitney Air Force, or making airplane parts in Florida.
Oh, okay.
When they got, but he was on the, he was here on the in Indiana. He was a farm boy, and that was he used to go see Pat at Ball State all the time, and they dated, and he finally married. And his mom and dad sold the dairy farm and moved down to Florida. So, and that was Hartford City, is where he lived. Rosemary's husband is named Marion Kellum, and he became a teacher, English and arts, an arts major, and his dad was a barber, and his mom went to school later in life. She was in high school when I was there. She became a teacher. So, and right now they live in northern Indiana, and Rosemary's still alive. She's in her 90s, and so's her husband. And one of their daughters is married to a paraplegic, and they are taking care of their mom and dad. She is, and the kids come over there to visit all the time. My sister Patricia, Fred passed away. He was living with his daughter in Georgia, and so was my sister Pat. And he had all kinds of things going on, and he said to his wife, he said, "Well, you probably hate me," because he was really not well and doing stupid things, I guess. She said, "No, I don't hate you. I love you." He said, "Well, I'm getting ready to leave." He said, "We need to call hospice and tell them I'm coming." And about 4 days later, he was gone. And then my sister had got COVID. She recovered from that, but she couldn't take care of herself, so they had to put her in a nursing facility there in Georgia. She lasted about 2 years. My dad married my mother's sister, Nella Mae, who, because she was married to a gentleman named Chet Fuller, and she had worked in the she had worked in finances, and she'd worked there for the United States military when the base was there in Indianapolis.
Oh, yeah.
So she was one of those people that was writing checks and doing whatever financially at that base. But when Chet passed away, she didn't have any money. She wasn't able to get Social Security. So it was kind of like Dad was trying to take care of her because it was the right thing to do, So he said, you know, I can't keep doing this. You're living over here, and I'm living where I am, and you're in a mobile home.
Oops.
And I knocked it off.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
it's all right.
That's all right, it's still working.
Yeah,
I'll put it there.
not the first time it's hit the floor.
So he said, I would like this for us to get married. And so she agreed, and they got married, and they moved into the house that I was born in. And they were together for about 3 years, 4, before she had her next nervous breakdown. And then she died when she was 58, and my mom died when she was 58. And she was in the mental institution when she passed away, I believe. So that was the way that went. But I got all my mechanical skills from my father, and my gardening skills, which I'm pretty good at. Militarily, I guess it's just one of those things. I decided to join the Marine Corps when I was right out of high school. One of my friends that I was with, and was younger than me, had joined the Marine Corps, and he was at home and said, I can get a little extra leave if you sign up. And I'm saying, well, my dad said I wasn't going to be going to college. He didn't have the finances to send me, so yeah, I'll probably sign up. And
Let's back up a little bit here before you get too far down the path with the Marine Corps. Did you know your grandparents on either side, the Etchisons or the Jacksons?
oh yes, I knew both. I knew I can tell you, my grandparents, Emery Etchison, and my grandmother was, I'm older, and my mind process doesn't take, so it takes me a minute for the names to come, right? Her maiden name was Ebert, or Ebert, depending. She was German.
Yeah.
She could have been French because she was right there on the line, the Maginot line.
Okay.
So it could have gone either way. And so her name was, well, it's not coming to me. It will eventually.
When it does, we'll get it.
Emery Etchison was who she married, and she did her Etchison family tree. I have her family tree upstairs, herself, and she's got all kinds of information in there that you can't believe, but it was really good information. And Emery worked at Delco Remy. He was a farmer. I had to spend time on the farm with them when Mom ended up in a hospital. So I was living with my grandmother and grandfather Etchison when I was very little.
How'd you feel about that?
At the time, I didn't want to be there. I missed my family. I missed my mom. I know when my dad was taking my mom over there one time, he was driving her over, and she started acting out, and he said, "Stop Charlie, stop that. I'm taking to your mom." And the next thing I know, she's look. I don't know if she tried to reach for the wheel or what happened, but he backhanded her, broke her glasses. The blood flew. And I'm in the back seat, so I started pounding on his back. He stopped the car. He said, "You have to sit down and behave yourself. I'm taking your mom over to her mother and father's. She needs to go there. She needs help." So I sat back down and got calmed down, right? I'll never forget that moment, that they loved my dad. If they needed something done, all they had to do was call. He'd come over and work on whatever they needed for him and all that. And they had a 40-acre farm. My grandpa Etchison had an old horse named Molly, and he would use that horse to plow and disc the garden, and he let Rosemary and Pat and I ride on the back of the horse's back, Molly, while he was doing that, which was enjoyable for us. I had all kinds of chores that I had to do when I was on that farm. It was like, you need to go out and go out to the hen house, wrestle the hens around, gather the eggs. Okay. Then Grandpa decided I needed to go out and take care of pick out a nice plump hen for Sunday dinners, right? And then he showed me how to do that.
Yeah.
And it was like, you get a hold of them around the neck like this, and you crank them up, and then, which I did. And then, of course, the chickens running around in circles around me, and the blood's flying everywhere. Next thing I know, my grandmother's coming out there and said, "What are you doing? You don't do that way." Well, she went and got a little hatchet, said, "Come with me." That was next Sunday. Come with me. We went out to this little stump, and she sits down and she starts in stroking the hen. Calm and talking to it. And took the hatchet and whack.
Oh, boy.
So, and she said, "You realize that last thought on that chicken's head was it was scared to death, fear in its heart, and it's running around in circles trying to get away. Not something you should have been doing."
Yeah.
But, my grandpa was my grandpa. So, yeah. That was, and when it comes to my grandfather, Jackson, his name was, Bronson. Yeah. Middle name was Bronson. Isaac Bronson Jackson. And his wife's name was India Jackson.
Oh, okay.
India Kendall Jackson.
Huh.
And he was in his 80s. Whoops.
Sorry.
He was in his 80s when he passed away. And I was at the hospital when that happened. And he had heart trouble and dropsy.
Oh, my.
And he had taken off, and he had left the hospital there at Ball State, or Ball Memorial, and walked back to his farmhouse, which was probably 5 miles away. And they went back and they got him and they brought him back to the hospital. And so I'm in there and we're sitting there and he's in there. And they're all talking to him that he had to stay in the hospital, they had to treat him. And I remember him say, he got all agitated, he was upset, his temper was flying. He said, "Look, I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm not going to the poorhouse. You're not sending me to the poorhouse. That's not someplace I'm going. I'm going to die. I'm going to fool all you sons of bitches. I'm going to die right now."
Oh, my gosh.
He dropped dead.
Oh,
I'm just a little guy. I wasn't that old. I'm looking, okay, what's death? Who knows? But I know he was gone. It's kind of like, wow.
Talk about being in control of the situation.
You wonder, can that possibly ever happen? It happened.
Holy moly.
But, yeah.
Wow.
I'm sorry if I'm moving around too
No,
much.
that's all right.
No.
My grandmother, India Kendall Jackson, got cervic cancer. And she died of cervical cancer. And my grandfather, Isaac Bronson, married another woman, and I called her Aunt Sudie.
Okay.
And so she was my grandmother, Aunt Sudie. And she was a really nice woman. She treated me well, but my sister said, "She doesn't like me." Okay. So that was part of that. My grandfather, Emery, would take me hunting. He had an old rifle, a hex barrel lever action .22 rifle. And it was single shot .22. And we'd walk down the fence rows looking for a rabbit setting. And we'd get one every once in a while. I didn't get to use the rifle.
We got a low light sensor for something, I don't know what. Think we ought to shut it off and find
Okay,
out?
let's pause it and find out.
So where was I at?
It's going.
Okay, we're with your grandparents. Now, India Jackson, is she buried in East Maplewood?
She's buried over in Muncie, at the graveyard in Muncie.
Okay, okay.
So's most of my Jackson family will be in that graveyard in Muncie. So
I thought I had seen that name on a headstone over there. So,
yeah, her name was India Kendall Jackson, and she was buried in the graveyard in Muncie. It's the Jones Cemetery
okay.
in Muncie. Most of my Jackson relatives are buried there, the family relatives, and my grandmother Etchison and my grandpa Etchison are buried there also. And my mom Ruby is buried there, and my dad.
Okay.
He bought 5 plots. There's one still open that wasn't used in the plots that he bought, and then all the rest of the Jacksons are out there somewhere close by. That's where they're buried. I guess the Etchisons, Fern Alto Etchison. That's my grandmother's name.
Okay, there you go.
It just went away from me.
Yeah?
Fern Alto Etchison. And she was a wonderful person. She was. And she had taken on, she had 5 children already. And her children were grown when she took us in. She had 3 more children taken in, and she said, I don't really want to do this, but I owe my daughter Ruby. I owe her. But so she did. So she got 3 more kids to take care of for about 4 years there. At one stretch, 3 or 4. I think I was 6 or 7 when I left the farm, and I was probably 2 or 3 when he took me out there. Maybe, so I was there for about 4 years, and I started school in Frankton, in the Frankton school. And did I want to be there? Did I really want to be there? No. Was it the best place for me to be? Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't do very well in the school. The teacher there didn't really care for me because I didn't participate. I remember she put this dunce cap on my head and put me in the cloak closet, and every once in a while she cracked my knuckles.
Word.
And I thought, I just, I was unhappy. I wanted to be at home with my mom and my dad, which I got to do, but it was not a fun time for me. I'm not sure how my sisters, I think, were older than me and handled it better than I did, of course. I was very young and very immature. So it was part of life.
Not a good model for education, that's for sure.
I know when it came to surviving at that time, they were survivors. I mean, the Etchisons, the Jacksons were survivors. That was during the Depression that Dad was working, and it was a lot of things going on. They farmed, they bartered. They bartered. The eggs made the milk you get from the cow. Had a cow. You bartered with the farmer up on the hill, pig farmer, apple knocker. You'd barter with him, and there's a beef guy on the other side over. You bartered with them. They get eggs, milk, cheese, and you barter with them for meat. And so it was how it went, and we survived. We lived out of our garden, and I lived out of my garden when I was a young man working at Delco Remy. I mean, I had that victory garden that we put out, and I lived out of that garden and supplemented, our supplies. It was,
Sure.
it was the best way to go. I learned a lot of valuable lessons that way about life. So,
Hard times are good teaching times,
mhm.
good character building times, a lot of times. Yeah.
Well, I had good times too. There was always good times.
What were your good times? Growing up, what were your good times?
I used to love to go swimming at the Beulah Park. I had a season pass, and I would be up there every day, and I would be swimming up there and going swimming. It was one of my favorite things to do. And I had my chores to do at home, mow the yard, work the garden, and all that. But I loved to go to the theater, town theater in Alexandria.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'd be lined up for 2 or 3 blocks to get into the town theater, and they would, they had, you see the cartoons, and you'd see the movie, and usually it could be Dale Evans or Roy Rogers, or it could be one of the other cowboys.
Yeah.
There was always something, and they did have the science fiction part, like Buzz Lightyear, but the original version.
Flash Gordon.
Flash Gordon. Yeah, and so I got to go to the movies every Saturday, and my dad would take me up and give me a quarter allowance, and we'd go up to IGA's, and there was a Sunday shop right there in the corner of IGA's,
Yeah.
Underwood's. And he'd take me into Underwood's, and he said, "You can get anything you want." I'd take my quarter and get myself a banana split. So, there was good times, always good times, and there was always good things to do. Besides just daily life was fun for me.
Yeah.
I mean, it was. So I can't complain about doing my chores and all that. I loved to do what I was doing. I loved the farming. I loved all of it. When I went to school in high school, I signed up for FFA, Future Farmers of America. And
Did you ever think about maybe becoming a farmer?
oh yeah, I wouldn't have signed up for FFA in my freshman year if I hadn't thought maybe one day I'll farm.
Yeah.
I'll be a farmer. But of course, that wasn't going to take place. We didn't have any farmland, and my grandfather and grandmother had sold their 40-acre farm.
Yeah.
It was gone. So I wasn't going to inherit any farmland, that was for sure. And so I knew it wasn't going to probably be a real possibility. But it was something I loved to do. And you had the 4-H fair up there every year. We'd go up to the 4-H fairs, and you could see the animals. And I had rabbits. I raised rabbits.
Okay.
And I got to enter my rabbits in the 4-H fair. And of course, I was raising them just because I loved farm animals.
Yeah.
But I knew eventually I was going to have to slaughter them and sell out, which we did. But it was a great experience. It was a good experience. Dad got me started in that, and the way I got my start was Mr. Aborn, and he had a really huge strawberry patch, and he had rabbits. And so I went up and talked to him about his rabbits, and he says, "Well, if you want to get started with rabbits, tell you what, I will sell you one buck and 2 females." And he says, "That'll get you started." And it did. I built my cages back behind the garage back there, and started out with 3, and when we were going out of business there and got to quit, I had about 80 of them.
They are friendly animals,
Yeah.
that's for sure.
And I learned a lot about strawberries from Mr. Aborn too. When I put out a strawberry patch with 5 different rows of strawberries, and 3 foot wide and 50 foot long, and I would have early June bearers, everbearers, California wonders, Dunlap. So I'd have strawberries from spring to fall.
Mm.
Yeah, So, and my kids, when they were living, there was fruit trees in the yard, and my dad's house was right next to mine, and I had 3 of those 4 lots he had was mine, and I had my house on one of them. So they got to know their grandfather and their grandmother, and
That's good.
they got to share in what my dad was doing. He was pretty much a horticulturist. He loved farming. He trees and fruits, and he put out bushes, cherry bushes. They were sweet cherries. You wouldn't think, all those cherries you buy for $5 or $6 a pound. Yeah, there's bushes. There's yellow, dark black, yeah, red cherry. They grow on bushes. And you could get them from Henry Field and plant them yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And you can have those cherries every year.
I didn't know they grew on bushes.
Oh, that was something
trees.
from Henry Fields. They had the big cherry trees. We had the tart cherry trees, 2 of them.
Okay.
One, they cross-pollinated each other, so they were tart cherries, red. We had those. Then you had really black Tartarian cherries. They grew on big trees, right?
Okay.
The bushes were something that Dad came up and found with the Henry Fields out of the farm magazine, and he planted them, and those cherries were just as good and just as sweet as the ones coming off the trees, and they were bush cherries. That to me was amazing. He also decided to get a graft. So he had a tree, had one of the trees he had there was a hardy Indiana tree, and he got a peach limb tree and grafted it.
Okay.
And that peach tree survived for about 3 or 4 seasons, and we had 2 seasons of peaches out of it, and then it succumbed to the cold weather and the elements.
Yeah.
But it wasn't for our zone.
Yeah.
But there's all kinds. We had all kinds of fruits. I had 5 different kinds of apple trees out there, and we had a pear tree, 2 different kinds of pear trees: soft pear, hard pear. I had all kinds of raspberries that I'd put in the front rows of the fences up there. We had strawberries all year round. And in the garden, I had my kids out there working in the garden. Of course, Leah to this day will tell you she wants to have her garden. So
A lot of work, but
a lot of work, but it's something
payoff.
everybody loves to eat. Come on.
Yeah. So you graduated from Franklin or Alexandria?
Alexandria Monroe High School.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. I graduated in 1960. So I was a freshman. In my freshman year there, they did the induction, and you went up there. You know that somebody's going to be coming up there, and they're going to be playing pranks on you, right? Because you're brand new. And everybody's coming in from Scott's Edition, Phillips Edition, Orestes, Bunker Hill, and then the kids that went to Alexandria grade schools. And we all came together to go to high school. And so we hadn't necessarily seen each other in a class and at that size. It was pretty good sized classes. And I know our English teacher was a good guy. But he said, I can tell you right now, I'm sitting here, we have all of my students are sitting here in this room from all different schools, and you came here, and I can tell you which ones came from Cunningham.
Oh, really?
And he said, that's because they know their English. And we did. Mrs. Waymar made sure we learned our English in the 8th grade.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you. It's put the fear of God in you. So that was one thing. And it was, I was probably graduated in the top third of my class. I wasn't a whiz bang, but I took an academic course because I thought I wanted to go to college. Decided I would probably do that. Rosemary and Marion both had. But when I graduated, my dad said he didn't have the funds to send me. He said, you probably already spent the funds that I would have had to send you already. I was not an easy teenager. I was not. There was a time when I was practicing to drive to get my driver's license, and I was in his 54 Ford.
Whoops.
And I was going down a gravel street, and I didn't have a licensed driver with me, and I should have had. I told him I was going to go pick up one that didn't get in the car with me, thank God. And I lost control of that car, and it flipped up end over end and rolled over three sides down some fence rows. And I ended out in a farmer's field over there. I think I might have hit a culvert, I'm not sure. But what happened was I was going down there and I was kicking through the gears, and then I looked up and I saw way up on the hill. It was Halloween time. Is that somebody out there with a load of kids on a wagon? And yeah, that was through, and I jammed that thing into second gear and lost control of it.
Oh boy.
And hit the brakes, and I lost it. And it was way up there. It wasn't going to happen probably, but I did total the car out, and it was laying there and it was on its side, and I tried my best to set it up,
Yeah.
and it blew up and caught on fire.
Oh no. Well, you did a
Oh,
complete job on it, didn't
yeah, I remember the fireman was out there, and the policeman, he says, "Well, what happened to the driver? He's probably dead." And I said, "No, it was me." And of course, the guy in the newspaper at the time, in Alexandria newspaper, said, he put a nice little article in the newspaper about a young man practicing his driving skills, wrecked and totaled his father's car, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. So the whole world knew.
Yeah.
And I know that friend of mine that I was in, I used to work for Jim and Charlie, and they were plasterers. And Dale was their stepson, and Dale and I were really good friends, and he was a lower classman. But I carried Hod and worked through school for Jim and Charlie Anderson carrying Hod. And so did his stepson Dale. He and they both did, doing the cleanup, carrying Hod, doing all that. That was one of the things we did. And Dale and I would get out and get into mischief. We did. So
The car wasn't enough.
no, it's just, he got himself a rifle, and we're sitting there in the bedroom, in his bedroom, and he's messing around with that rifle. And I said, "What are you doing?" He put around in the chamber, clipped it, and he started bringing it up like he's bringing it up between my eyes. Right? I said, "What the hell are you doing?"
Yeah.
And about that time, boom! And I sat there and I froze. And I said, "Thank God you missed me." And he turned white as a ghost. And he kept getting whiter. And then I felt sort of well, look. I reached up here. I pulled back a puddle of blood. And then I'm up and I'm running and screaming and heading into the living room, and Regina and Charlie and Jim are out there, and it's, oh my God, I've been shot. They called my dad, and he came down, took me to Dr. Schaefer, and he looked me over and he said, "Well, the bullet went through your neck." He said, "Quarter of an inch either way, you'd have been dead. Took out your jugular, took out your spinal cord back there." But it didn't do any damage. He said, "I'm just going to cauterize it and put this on." He said, "What happened?" I said, "Well, it was an accident. He didn't intend to do it." So I don't think they even turned in a police report.
You joined the Marine Corps for safety reasons.
Yeah, well, I never got shot at in the Marine Corps. I did a lot of firing with rifles, but I never got shot at. Yeah, so that happened. But yeah, there was good things. There was a lot of good things happened. My dad was good to me. My mom was good to me. She was a great cook. Matter of fact, I remember her telling me sitting there one day when we were having food, and she said, "You got to eat that." I said, "There's too much food, and I've already had enough." "No, no, you don't understand. You have to eat that. Underneath your feet, down below, there's another country called China, and there's little children, little Chinese children starving to death." And I went, "Okay." She said, "So you really need to eat all your food."
How many of us have heard that?
So when I graduated out of high school, I was 240, probably 230 pounds. When I went in the Corps, I was 230 or 40 pounds. So it was a question, "They won't take you. You're a little bit too big, aren't you?" And I said, I don't know. We'll find out."
They have a way of curing that.
They did. They did.
Were you in Toastmasters when that Chinese engineer Xiaoling, I think was her name, worked with Dean Ford? But she was in the club for a while. And she was telling us one night that when I was a kid and I didn't eat everything on my plate, my parents would tell me, "You better eat that. There's a bunch of kids over in America that are starving." So when you graduated, did you know what you wanted to do with your life, or were you just graduated and taking it from there?
I thought I knew what I wanted to do with my life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I took an academic course in high school. So I wanted to go to college, and I thought what I wanted to do was probably go get a business course and maybe start my own business, because I'm pretty good at stuff.
Okay.
And that wasn't going to happen because my dad wasn't going to be financially able to get that done, and I figured I would take the next route. And the guy that shot me was Dale. And he's the guy that joined the Marine Corps, by the way. And that's why I joined, so he could get a little extra leave. That helped him out.
Yeah.
And we were still good friends. I didn't back and say, "Okay, you're stupid, you did something wrong." I didn't say, "I'm not going to befriend you over that."
Yeah.
I said, "It was a stupid, foolish thing you did, but I know you didn't mean to do it," which is, all right. We'll call it that. But
now I'm thinking, how did he do on the rifle range? I don't know why, but
yeah, I wonder that too.
after all, he did miss.
I know. He became a cook in the military. That was his MOS. That was his MOS.
Okay. So, was there much of a space and time between graduating and joining the Marines?
That summer, I joined in August. So
Enlisted versus being drafted?
I enlisted.
Okay.
No, I wasn't drafted. I enlisted, and I joined up in August. Well, probably towards the latter part of August. So, whenever we got out of school, I was out for the summer. I had a little time to spend, go swimming, enjoy my life for a little bit, date, and then joined the Corps. And that's where I was at the time. And I figured when I joined the Corps, well, okay, I'm going to join up for 4 years. And the reason I did that, besides just Dale, is I had gone right straight from high school and thought, well, maybe I'll go to work at Delco Remy. And my dad worked at Delco Remy, my aunts, my uncles, everybody working at Delco Remy or Guide Lamp, and they hired family back in the day.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, I could go to work there right away and get some money up and go to college that way, right? And the guy told me, and his name was Jackson. So I'm sorry, I can't hire you right now. You get your military service in, You come back and I'll hire you.
Mm-hmm.
So Dale came back from the Marine Corps. They had rejected me to hire me in for a job there that way. And I went, okay, I'll just go in the Marine Corps. I'll get my military service in. Then I'll go back and I'll hire in at Delco Ramey, which is...
So the thought probably was that you're at that age where you're probably going to get drafted, so I don't want to hire you until after you've gotten over that.
That's what was going on. You're probably going to get drafted anyway.
Yeah.
That's what was going on with his thought, I know. So I'm just going to join the military. It's not a big deal. And I'll get my military service in. And I signed up for 4 years, and in I went.
Where did you go to boot camp?
I was a Hollywood Marine.
San
San Diego.
Diego.
Yeah.
Camp Pendleton.
Oh, yeah. Camp Pendleton in San Diego. I signed up. The recruiter, I talked to my recruiter, and he's talking to me, and he said, I'm not going to make you any guarantees or anything like that. He said, you're a little bit overweight. He said, they'll take care of that for you. That's not going to be a problem. But, I'm going to sign you up and you're going to be okay. And I said, all right.
So here you are living in Indiana, and they sent you out there.
They did, well, yeah. I'm in Indiana. He signed me up. They put me on a troop train. And then they put me on a bus. And the bus took me into San Diego. And there was a whole busload of us on there. And we were all, most of us, we kind of chitter chat a little bit quietly to each other, because the bus driver said, hey, knock it off. So, yeah, okay. When we got in there, we pulled in and we stopped. He said, okay, it's time to get off the bus. The first guy got up to get off the bus, and boom, foot in his back, and out he went. And so every one of us is going to get the same treatment. We knew what was coming.
Yeah.
And that's what happened, busload of guys. When we got there, we all got together, and we standing around, and he said, you need to line up, get in a line, stand in a line, So we all lined up. Here comes this guy. You don't know me, but you're going to. I'm your drill instructor. Your mother, your father, your brother, and your sister, I'm all those people. That's who I am to you now. And he says there's only one way, the Marine Corps way. Not the right way, not the wrong way, the Marine Corps way. So, lined us all up, stand at attention. And it was, okay, I want your eyes straight ahead, your stomach in, your chest out, your arms by your side, and I want your eyes fixed straight ahead, and I want them fixed on me. And that's how that started out. And it was kind of like, okay. So he indoctrinated us into the Corps pretty quickly. Yeah, it was a shockaroo to some of those guys. It was like,
Oh, yeah.
Dale had already told me. He said, "Well, you're going to get a rough treatment, but you'll be all right." He said, "You're going to get your head shaved. Everything's going to happen you don't like."
Well, they probably let you sleep in the next morning to rest up for the activities of the day.
I don't think so. No. Oh no. It was like right off the bat. That was still early in the morning, and we were headed for. You're going to get your supplies. You get your clothes. You're going to get this. You're going to get that. Yeah, you're going to quartermaster, and then you're headed for the barber shop. Right, get your hair cut. It was quick, fast, and furious. And the one thing I can say about the Marine Corps is my teeth weren't in very good shape when I joined. And they put me in a dental chair, and this dentist is sitting there working on my teeth, and he said, "Wow." He said, "I could have made a fortune on you." He said, "You realize how much money they're putting out and they're putting in your mouth right now?" Okay. So yeah, that was one of the things that I appreciated about the Corps. They did, you know. I will say this: when we got our shots, we got our shots. They did that with a gun, and you all lined up, and they hit you from both sides. Bam, bam, bam. You know, and you didn't get to say yes or no. They gave you every shot under the sun. And I'm pretty sure there's some shots in there that were experimental, but oh well.
Well, as long as you got a sucker when they were done, that's okay.
It's okay.
So what was the hardest part about boot camp?
Oh, wow. Okay, I was overweight, and for their standards. So I'm weighing 240. When I got out, I was weighing 165, and I was all muscle.
Wow.
So they had a program. You had a table specifically designed for you, and they called it the Fat Boys table. You're going to be going to that table every day, and you only get to eat the portions that they give you, and that's all you get to eat. 3 times a day. Nothing else. All the other guys were eating all they wanted.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah, I'll do what they want. So okay, that was the first part of the program. The second part of the program is whenever we're marching or going somewhere, you're going to be at the very end of the squad. You're going to be the tail light. You're not going to be the headlight. You're going to be the tail light. Mm-hmm. So I'm always, if we're on a long march or doing a march of any consequence at all, even around the grinder, they're marching, I'm running.
Oh, yeah.
I'm running. So they ran me everywhere, and whenever we went any place, it was like you're double timing there. You double time there, you double time back. Everywhere we go, you're double timing. So I got extra physical activity. The one thing that, I passed all their tests. I did everything they asked of me. There was one thing that I struggled with, was a pull-up. Anything else they had there, I struggled with getting up over that bar. Yeah. And it was like, wow. And my drill instructor says, "I don't understand why you can't do that." I do not understand. One of the drill instructors from the other platoon, when he walked away, came over and said, "Hey, I want to talk to you. Yeah. Here's the deal. When you grab a hold of that bar, change your mental process in your mind. Change your attitude. You aren't trying to pull your body up over that bar. You're trying to pull that bar through the ground." Oh. Okay. I did 6 of them, and just like that.
Wow. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I'd never heard that expressed that way. That's
Yeah. It worked.
good thinking.
It was good.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
It made sense for me, thank God.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So,
So
yeah.
there's a point at which you said to yourself, "I'm a Marine now." There's that certain pride, or you've made it.
That's when graduation day. You get 3 months of infantry, right? You get 3 months, and then you get 1 month advanced infantry at Camp Pendleton. So what I heard from that drill instructor all the time was, "You think you're a Marine? No, you're not. You're lower than whales shit, and that's at the bottom of the damned ocean. You're not a Marine. I'm going to make you one, but you're not one yet." Well, okay, So he said, "And it's my job to see that you become one. And when you're in a foxhole with 4 or 5 other guys, you don't crack and you don't break. Because if you break, you're the weakest chain in a link. And if you break, you go down, they go down with you. I'm going to break you here. I will break you here.
Yeah.
You're not going to get to be a Marine. You're not going to get out. No, you're not going to be getting out of the Corps. Oh, yeah, you will. Section 8. So the day I graduated was when I knew I was a Marine. Because my drill instructor came over. We had our graduation process. And we'd all graduated. And he said, I want to talk to you. Yeah, tell you this. This is the day that I'm going to call you a Marine. You are a Marine today, and you can wear that title proudly. I have done my job, and you're going to do yours. So, rest easy, and I'll rest easy knowing that you're going to do what you're supposed to when we're in combat. Okay. And I know, you think in the Marine Corps it's rough. It is. It's rough. That rifle, this is your rifle.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is your rifle. It is your friend. This is my rifle. There are many rifles like this rifle, but this rifle is my rifle.
Yeah.
I will take care of it. I will coddle it. I will clean it. I will make it work and work well. And I will never let it leave my side. And then, of course, they give you the one with the fun. This is my rifle. This is my gun. This is for war. And this is for fun. So we did that little tattoo. But yeah, once a Marine, always a Marine. That's when you hear that, it's true. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what MOS you get. You're still an infantryman. You know that no matter what, you're an infantryman. And you've got on that helmet, born to kill. And you have to live up to that, and you have to do that if it's necessary. You know that without a shadow of a doubt. So that's the day I knew I'd become a Marine, and I was going to do what I was supposed to do. Not that I wanted to kill another individual. Nobody really does want to.
No, they really don't.
They really don't. But when it comes down to it, and it's you or him, or you or your comrades, it's him. I will make him die for his country. I'm not going to die for mine. I'm sorry.
And it's almost more for your comrades than it is for yourself.
Oh yeah, it is. I'm not gonna fail. And that's where almost every Marine feels. We're going to protect each other. We aren't going to leave somebody behind either. So that's part of the motto.
So you graduate and then you go into a unit of some kind where you probably got some advanced training maybe?
Oh, I went to second ITR. And when you get to second ITR, it's more of the same thing for basic training, only it's very much more intense.
Right.
In basic training, we went to the firing range, we fired our rifles, we learned how to fire our rifles, we went through live fire, and you're going underneath all kinds of obstacles, pop-up targets you shoot at, you can't shoot something you're not supposed to. You do all that, and then you continue that process. But they run you to death in Camp Pendleton. They say they're going to take and run you through the hills. I called them mountains, but we were running those mountains all the time. You run those mountains, and go on 50-mile hikes. You're going to go on 50-mile hikes, and you're going to push you to your very limits. They're going to push you to your physical limits and make sure there's guys falling on the wayside, when you're doing that 50-mile march. There they go. There's another one down. And it's like, don't worry about him. We'll pick him up later. It's not like life or death. But yeah, it's intense. It's intense. And they intend for you to be able to take care of yourself, your comrades, your buddies, and to do the job well. They don't want you in the Corps if you can't do that. They really don't. So, and yeah, I'm proud of being a Marine, and I'm proud of doing what I did. I'm not sorry about it at all. My MOS was not. It was motor transport.
What was it?
Motor transport.
Motor transport, yeah.
So I was in a motor transport, and I was attached to a Hawk, homing all the way killer missile battalion. And it was our job to shoot down airplanes. So I hauled missiles, six canisters of missiles at a time. I hauled JATO to put drones up in the air, which is like TNT, a little bit more explosive. And all kinds of different things. I drove gasoline tankers, 2x, 4x, 6x, one great big son of a gun. They'll do anything, you know, but whatever they had, I drove, and I got to watch those Hawk homing all the way missiles go up, chase that drone down, go right up its tailpipe, and boom, it's gone. So that's what was the heat seeker. And if you locked onto a jet airplane and the pilot was good enough and he could shake or turn his engines off, he might get away from that heat seeker. Otherwise, he's gone. So that was the first thing with missiles. And then when they were really doing missiles, that was the beginning of them. And look at it today. Wow. Wow, what they're doing with missiles. I'm watching the TV and I'm saying, oh my goodness.
Yeah. Flying along and then just take a little turn here and take off that direction, go down there.
They're sending.
The very spot.
They got missile launchers with 2 missiles on them, precision missiles that'll go 8,000 miles. I don't know how far. God, just so, and come in and they fired those 2 missiles, precision missiles, and hit precision targets.
Yeah.
And they're gone. They got bunker busting bombs that penetrate deep into the earth that are taking out all of the missile factories that they have underground right now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And they're doing all that. And the drones are the most worrisome thing right now.
The World War II guys would look at you and see how advanced it was. Now you're looking at this and thinking, wow, we were downright primitive.
We were primitive. I mean, I thought we were cutting edge missiles.
We were. We were.
So
Yeah.
what Marine division were you in?
Oh, gee whiz. What was one? What did they call us? It's, first, second, third, and light anti-aircraft missile division. I was in 2nd LAM.
Okay. Yeah.
And while I was in, there was Cuban crisis going on also.
Mm-hmm.
Not just Nam, but Cuba.
Okay, from Camp Pendleton, where did you go?
I went to 29 Palms, California.
29 Palms. Okay. And what was that for, more training, or was that the
No.
resource?
I went to 29 Palms, and they attached me to 2nd Light Aircraft Missile Battalion right there.
Okay.
And when I was attached to it, they made me fill out a form. What do you like to do? What are your favorite things to do? What have you done with your life? And of course, I put down I like to swim. I like to horseback ride. You know, the things that I really love to do. And I wasn't there, but a week or two, and they came to get me and said, "Hey, yeah, we're going to transfer you TAD to base stables, and you're going to be there for 6 months. The uniform of the day will be cowboy boots, cowboy hat, jeans, a belt, and a shirt. Oh, and you'll be taking care of horses, because I told him I was a farm boy. I loved horses. Yeah, you'll be taking care of horses, and you'll be taking dependents and officers and enlisted men on trail rides.
Huh.
Okay, so that my first 6 months, my transfer of active duty from 2nd Lamb to the base stables. And that was great for me. There was only one thing in there that happened that I didn't like. I was leading this one little pinto, and it was right behind me, and I had it, but really, the leash was gentle and, light. I wasn't jerking on him. I wasn't doing anything to harm this horse. And he was going in to get water and hay, and he would, and he was bound and determined that I wasn't going fast enough. I wasn't getting him there fast enough. He reached down and he clamped those teeth on this shoulder over here, picked me up and shook me, and the blood flew.
Oh boy.
And dropped me back down. I turned around, I doubled up my fist, and I smacked him right between the eyes. And there was the top standing up there by the front of that barn. Jackson, come here right now. I said, okay, I'm done. Well, one of the other guys, Cunningham, said, take it easy, Top, take it easy. I'm taking him inside to get medical treatment. The horse bit him, and bit him bad. Oh, okay. He turned around, grabbed a 2x4, went back over there where the horse was at, and smacked him between the eyes, and the horse dropped down to his knees. Then he walked back away from the horse. He said he won't do that again. So I didn't get as much trouble as I thought I was going to get in. But I thought, well, maybe I'm leaving the Corps, but nope, that didn't happen.
Well, I've not heard that story.
Got one just like it.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
We interviewed a guy early on who was in the horse cavalry at the very start of World War II.
Ah.
And he said, you can tell the city boys from the country boys because we all get lined up and be ready to charge up the hill. And go, charge, and the saddles will go flip.
Didn't cinch it up, did he?
Tony Tavat.
Yeah.
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 All right, so how long were you there before? What,
6 weeks
6 weeks?
in base stables.
Okay, base stables.
I spent 4 years on 29 palms,
Okay.
at 29 palms.
Okay.
Really?
Really. I was training reservists.
Okay.
A lot of reservists came there that I was training.
Yeah.
They would take us out. We had to qualify with our rifles every year for marksmen. They would take us out 3 miles out on a Navy vessel, and you'd have to go up and down the ropes, drop in an LST or D, as if you're going to beach, and then back up again. We'd do that a couple of times, once a year or something maybe. And you get past the 3 miles, the guys loved that because then they could buy booze, cigarettes, and no tax. And it really cheap and stock up. So that was part of that process. But I was basically I was in the motor pool. I was driving all kinds of vehicles everywhere, whenever, and whenever we went on bivouac, went out on missions or whatever out in the desert survival. Had to take course on desert survival. And we were training Marines that were reservists coming in. I remember that, of course, I'm driving a PC, and I have this one of the lieutenants that's in charge of his unit that's a reservist. and he's in the front seat with me, and he's got his guys sitting in the back of the PC back there. And one of them got up there and was sitting on the strap in the back. And I looked at him and I said, he can't be doing that. You need to get him sitting down in the bed of that truck. He says, it's all right. He'll be okay. I said, well, you're the officer, but this is my PC, and I'm in charge.
Yeah.
So you need to give him an order to get off that strap. And he was reluctant to do that. So I started to stop the Jeep, and when I did, he came off the strap, and he went face first up there into the front of the boards.
Mm-hmm.
And he was going to the medical facilities. Had to get somebody out there to get him to medical facilities. Whereupon we had a discussion, and I had a discussion with my CO, and I told him what I wanted him to do, and he didn't want to do it. And I said, I hit the brakes and stopped, and it was a little sudden, I guess. He said, it's okay. You outrank him when you're in that vehicle. You're in charge, he's not. And you're in charge of that property and everything in it. You did the right thing. Thank God. So,
Oh, you really did.
yeah. And I know the same deal, that same guy, he was wanting to set up, and it was a dry lake bed. And there's a lake that could be there, but it's not, out in that desert. And he's wanting to set up in that dry lake bed, and I told him, you can't do that. Why not? They have sandstorms out here. They have flash floods out here from the mountains. There could be a wall of water coming out here 30 foot high, and it sounds like a freight train, and it will fill this whole thing up with water. He chose to ignore that advice. So some of the guys were up there on the high ground. His group was not.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we did have a flash flood. It actually happened.
Wow.
They lost a lot of equipment.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think anybody died, but they had a rough time.
Wow.
And he should have listened.
That'd be a tough one to explain.
That'd be a tough one to explain. I don't know what happened with him.
He was probably not promoted.
Probably not. I'm guessing he probably didn't get his promotion. But that's just the way things go, the way you wouldn't believe. And it's like when you're out there in the middle of that desert, dust everywhere. There's dust flying when the sand's going, and they have to come out with a water truck and water the roads down. If you don't, it's different environment than it is anywhere else.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Yeah, we went to that one area of New
I've
Mexico.
seen a little of it.
Big signs everywhere telling you what to do in the dust storm. And
Yeah.
I'm going, please, let's get through this section.
Yeah, but even with those trucks, we had to put extra water canisters on the front of the trucks where the radiators were. Make sure that they didn't overheat when you're really hot in the heat in the desert.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah, you would.
yeah. So I spent a lot of time in the Mojave Desert, and there was a base. That base was 29 Palms. The city was right outside of it. That was the closest place you could go for liberty. And most of the guys went to the base Valhalla Lounge. We had one we called for the NCOs, which I was one. We went to the Valhalla Lounge, and enlisted guys went to another area that weren't NCOs. So yeah, and we could go on liberty. We got a lot of liberty. I was on liberty when JFK got shot. We were on liberty, and they called us all back in. I mean, it was blasting out everywhere. It's time for you to come back to the base now. So I came back to the base.
Yeah, we didn't know but what we were being attacked by a foreign.
We didn't know what was going on, foreign enemy, what happened. He was shot. And it could have been anything with JFK because of the Cuban crisis. And, you know, we were involved, I was involved in that Cuban crisis big time. And
What's the story there?
they took first and third lamb, they combined them, and they sent both of them to Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. And they left second lamb, my battalion, there on the base still. And all I got done for, I didn't get to sleep for 30 days probably. I believe it was that long. That whole month, that's all I did was I was moving stuff from down to the airport, and they were flying it out to Cuba. Down to the airport and out to Cuba. I just constantly. Next thing you know, the only thing left of the our battalion was 2nd Light Aircraft Missile, and there I was it. And I think I was probably, well, I became embarkation NCO. They made me embarkation NCO at that time. And so then they were getting ready for an all-out ditch effort in Nam. And it was before 65, it was 64, and I'm getting ready to get out in August. And I'm the embarkation NCO. And they had me out there saying, everybody in 2nd Light Aircraft Missile Battalion, you pack up your clothes, pack up all your civilian clothes, send them home. We are definitely going to be leaving here, and we're going to be going to a dangerous place, but I won't tell you where. And a colonel was at that point, he'd been talking to me for probably 3 or 4 months trying to get me to sign up and re-enlist, right? And I told him, I'm not planning on doing that. I'm planning on spending my 4 years, and I'm planning on getting out. And he said, look, I'm going to make you a final offer. I'll give you 1 stripe, $6,000, guarantee you to go any place you want to in the United States, any duty station, and you can stay there for 2 years. He said, that's a good deal. And I said, sounds good. $6,000 was a lot of money back then. Another stripe, yeah, and it was tempting. I almost took it. But no. He said, you won't find any jobs out there. There's no civilian jobs out there. He said, okay, I'll tell you what. If you get out, when you get out, if you aren't happy, you can't find a job, but anytime within 6 months, you call me back up and you got that same deal. I said, okay. So I got my unit combat ready to go at the time I didn't know where, but they were going to Da Nang Air Force Base, Vietnam. And so I got out. I went headed straight out. I had a Coors beer, and I'm sitting there watching TV over the weekend, and I got an appointment to go in and sign up, or talk to the guy Delco Remy about getting the job Monday, right? And I'm drinking my Coors beer, and I'm watching the TV, and here goes this train down along the line. This guy's saying, well, this combat unit right here is we don't know where it's going for sure, but it's a Marine Corps unit, and it is leaving for probably someplace in maybe Vietnam, and we don't know which one it is, but we think we know where it's going. And about that time, there was a tarp off of one of those missiles that had come loose, and there was second lamb.
And you recognize the state.
Okay, now I know where they're going. Now I know where they're going. They were headed for Da Nang Air Force Base, Vietnam. That's exactly where they were going.
Just have to have the right eyesight.
Right. So there they went, and then I went up Monday, talked to Mr. Jackson, and he wasn't a relative of mine. He had the same name. And he said, "You can go to work." I says, "I'm gonna go. I want you to take your physical, get your stuff done today because you're going to work tomorrow morning. So that's how that went.
Wow.
I did get a job right away, and I worked for Delco Remy and GM for 34 years probably, and then they changed their names and their situation. So I had 43 years in by the time they got done working for, and I retired out of Delphi,
Yeah.
and so we went through the bankruptcy and all that, but I'm still in pretty good shape. I'm fine.
You survived a lot of things in your life.
Yeah. At 84, I'm still standing tall. How's that?
So, so you left the service from 29 Palms. That was it. You went back home.
When I left, of course, he told me, you are going to, you have to serve your reservist duty, and you're going to be an inactive reservist, and you're going to go, your reserve base will be Glenview, Illinois Naval Air Station. So that was where my reserve time was to be spent if I went into the reserves. If I decided I wanted to join the reserves, that's what I would have happened. I would have been Glenview Naval Air Station.
So did you ever thought that maybe you'd like to have stayed in the Marines? Or?
Yeah, I did. I really thought I would like to have stayed in the Marines. More than once, I thought, well, I enjoyed my time in the Corps. I wasn't one of the guys that didn't like the Corps, didn't like what I was doing. I enjoyed my time. I enjoyed being there. I enjoyed the fact that I was able to protect the people that I love and the country that I love. And I would be part of that. It was a good thing for me.
You sorry you didn't get to go to Guantanamo?
A little bit, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. They could have. It could have been. I could have been going, but that's not what happened. You do what they tell you.
Yeah.
And I think you don't get a volunteer. I'm going to be part of the detachment that stayed behind. I'm going to be taking care of business, and that battalion is going to go to. It went to Vietnam. My battalion did, and they had the wall out here, the Vietnam Wall, and they bring it around, and I went over there to check it out and talk to the guys and see. I wondered if there was anybody that knew about any names of anybody from 2nd Light Aircraft Missile Battalion, and how they fared and what happened over there, because I didn't have a clue. I still don't. Of course, there was not one of their names on the wall, evidently. So, we don't have any names from that unit on our wall. So evidently nobody died from of course.
Oh, that's good.
That's one thing.
That's good. I'm hoping they didn't.
Yeah, it was early enough that they probably got in and got out before it got really bad.
Right.
We started getting into the Tet Offensive years.
Tet Offensive is coming up in 65.
They were close.
Some of the guys that I worked with at Delco Remy were in the Tet Offensive.
Yeah.
They could tell me all about it. One of the guys, Phil Lineberry, was in the Korean War.
Okay.
And he had some stories about that Korean War. He said, it was terrible. He said it was so cold, and our rifles froze up. The chambers we couldn't chamber around. He said, I had to urinate on my rifle to get it to unfreeze.
Yeah.
I said, yeah. And he said the thing about it was, we were fighting the Chinese, the Russians, both,
Yeah.
and the Koreans.
And the Koreans.
North Koreans. We were fighting all three of them. The Russian MiGs were up there flying around. He said they sent not one, not two, but 3 or 4 times they would send troops at you. The first one might not have anything but a hatchet or a handle, I don't know.
Yeah.
And the next one would have a little bit more sophisticated something in it, swords or something. So by the time they got to the fourth one, there's the one that had the rifles. And you know, you're shooting and killing everything in sight. And now you've got to the last one and you're about ready to run out of ammunition.
Yeah.
Said it was not a good thing. It was not a good thing.
Yeah, it's pretty tough war.
Pretty tough war. When he's talking about that war, that was bitter, cold, nasty. They forced them to stop at the 38th parallel. They didn't want to stop. Bleimer said, no, we didn't want to stop. We wanted to go on into China and get it over with.
Yeah.
And that may have been a mistake. Our president thought so I guess it was. He was commander-in-chief. So, yeah. But my service was, I was blessed by God, I guess.
Yeah.
I was fortunate. I never got shot at. I never had to shoot another individual or take their life. And I'm glad that I didn't have to.
Yeah.
It's not that I wouldn't have. I would have. There is no doubt in my mind I would have to protect myself and my comrades. It's ingrained in your system. You have to do what you have to do.
Yeah. So you worked how many years for Remy?
38 for Delco Remy and then 8 for
Delphi. Yeah.
or whatever they want to call themselves in between.
Oh, yeah. And where were you? What factory or?
Oh, I worked in. Can I move a little?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I need to
Yeah.
reposition myself.
That's part of it.
I worked in every factory that General Motors owned. Plant 1, plant 2, 3, 4, all the way up to plant 17. Mm-hmm. At one time or another, I was in one of those factories. I was very good mechanically. So I worked production jobs, but they would always come by and say, I want to green card you, I want to put you on utility. Mm-hmm. On utility, you're responsible for taking care of machines and taking care of the operators running the machines. So I worked more time on working utilities, and when I did, I got a classification on this one classification, different classifications all over the place. So I had classifications, and they would move me from one place to another, one plant to another, because I had that classification. So I got to work a lot of different places. And then somewhere there in my time, I spent about 20 years in the engineering group, hands-on engineering.
Okay.
Because they came out, I was working started out working with distributors. And then I went into parts departments all over the place for distributors. And then they moved me to to Plant 11, alternators. And I was working in all different kinds of plants and departments in there, doing all kinds of different things, and utility a lot. And they came by and they offered me an opportunity to go. We're looking for, we want to do something different. We're going to replace our model shop, and we're going to replace it and build them a better product than what they're getting right now. Yeah. And so we want to get 4 guys from our plant here, and we're interviewing you for the job and want to know if you wanted it. You're going to call it hands-on engineering. Okay, said, yeah, I'd love to go over and do that. And there was 4 of us that got to go from the alternator section. I was one of 4. And there was 4 that came from the motor section. That was 8. So there was 8 of us when it first started out. And we were developing new product lines and new products. And they wanted, the manufacturer wanted those products to be as good as the ones that were going to come off of the assembly line. Not cobbled up,
Yeah.
not an example of what could be. They wanted it to be what it would be. And that was our job. That's what we were doing.
Sounds like interesting work.
It was very interesting. I loved the engineering group. You know, one of the things that I was working with there at one time was the permanent magnet. Permanent magnets went to MagnaQuench.
Yeah, MagnaQuench, that
And
was a big deal.
and the permanent magnet also went into the motors. They replaced the coils in the motor itself.
Yeah.
Not the rotor. The rotor was still copper, but all that copper wire on the inside of that motor became permanent magnet.
Yeah.
And it was a really advanced situation with those. It made that starter much more dependable and longer lasting.
Yeah.
And the alternator, we did the works in a drawer. Everything used to have the voltage regulator up here on everything that was on the wall of the car. Mm-hmm. We encapsulated it, and put it in the top of the alternator. So now you have the regulator in there. All that, everything that electronics controls were in the top of it. All up there in the top of that. And so yeah, it was very, and I, you know, always new projects coming up. It wasn't just, you know, they wanted to do away with the starter altogether. So we were working on getting the engine to fire on the first cylinder every time. And if it fired on the first cylinder every time when the gas was up, you didn't need a starter.
Yeah.
And they had it where it was pretty good, but they couldn't get less than 1 part per million, so they couldn't do it.
We got it now.
Do you have it now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, those were good days.
Yeah, they were
Very
good.
innovative days.
They were, yeah, they were. And what they're doing today is, wow. Even, I can't, you know, I take my phone out and I say, I can't keep up with that.
Of course, you can't change your spark plugs without taking the engine out.
Oh, yeah. Well, they wanted to get the mechanics. They wanted the junkyard mechanic, the guy that gets out there in the backyard and changes his. They wanted.
Not anymore.
They didn't want you doing that.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things they were engineering in. It was going to make it very difficult for you to work on that car.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted you to bring it into the dealership.
Yeah.
And yeah. And I do believe in planned obsolescence. Because SPC, we got really big into SPC, so we're trying to make those parts like they did in Japan because they were so successful, right? They shunned that for a long time, GM did. They finally had to do it. And we're running SPC to make sure we've got the parts that are really good, and less than 1 part per million if we can possibly get it there, right? Yeah. And they are getting, we were getting really close to making that happen. I mean, 1 part per million, but that's a pretty strong thing. But I don't know. The products that we were making back in the day got better and better and better, but they also had planned obsolescence. They absolutely had planned obsolescence. It's going to last till this date, and they knew when that was going to be. I just know they did.
We'll talk.
I know that you're married.
Yeah.
So, tell me what's the story there. First of all, what's her name for the record?
Okay, my first wife was Rebecca Ann Martin Jackson.
Okay.
And we got married when I got 1 year. You know, I was working at Delco Remy. We were married. Didn't get any insurance for the first year, and we had a baby on the way. And so I'm going, okay. I paid my family doctor in the hospital so much a month every month. So when the baby came 9 months later, that it would be paid up. And so I married, she was a really good woman, and Eugene, she was adopted by Eugene Martin and his wife. She was a wonderful person. I loved her dearly. She wanted a dozen children. I didn't know that when we got married. We didn't talk about that, but she did. She wanted a dozen.
Minor detail.
Yeah, minor detail. And she had her license, beautician's license, so she was going to be a beautician.
Yeah.
But she didn't really want to be a beautician. She wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. And she wanted to have a dozen children. That was her real goal. So there you are. We had 6 children. Actually, should have had 7. She had one that didn't make it. We lost one of the twins, and she had one that was a natural abortion. But we had 2 sets of twins. I had my son Jeff, and my daughter Leah, who's been in here helping clean today, and my son Matthew and his twin brother, Mark Allen, and Mark Allen passed away at 4 days. He had a pulmonary embolism in his left lung. They didn't even know he was coming. They pulled him out when they were trying to pull out the afterbirth, and he was blue, and I remember the doctor throwing him across the room, probably 20 feet across that room to another doctor.
Yeah.
Trying, say, we're going to save him, we're going to save him. And I said, well, is he okay? And his collar came back, and he was in an incubator, and you can't hold him, but he looked okay. He said, if he makes it past the 4th day, on the 4th day, he expired. He didn't make it past, but Mark Allen was gone, but I got to keep Matthew. And then she had the twin girls, Dawn and Leah.
Yeah.
No, Dawn and Kimberly. And Kimberly is the president of the Optimist Club right now that we go to, and Dawn is the vice president, and we have another girl in there who's a second vice president, and then we have a woman who's a treasurer, and they're part of the Optimist Club, which we're really big on in Chesterfield. And, we do a lot of things that we do for the community, for service for the community and for the youth of the community, and it's good. We do the pancake breakfast every year, and essay and oratorical contest, and we had a really huge basketball program back in the day when we didn't have class basketball.
Yeah.
It was big. We had probably 80 or 90 members then.
Wow.
And we first started out, it was just for boys, then it was for boys and girls, basketball, and we had several different teams, and really feeder for Anderson, all the Anderson schools, and whatever.
Good organization.
Yeah. That kind of went away with class basketball, it kind of diminished it. And then now they have a lot of parents pushing really hard to get their kids into sports programs with, I don't know. They pay money to do it, I guess.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So
is there anything else about your life story you'd like to get on tape here?
Well, yeah, I will say this. I was never a Christian when I was in the Corps, but I loved the Lord, and I know He protected me. I know He did. And I didn't become a Christian until I was 32 years old. That's when I received Jesus Christ as my Savior. Best decision I ever made in my life. So, and that's when I knew what this world was supposed to be and who I was supposed to be and what I was supposed to be doing. And I'm not saying that what I was doing in the Marine Corps was wrong. It was right. It was right. And I was doing it for the right reasons. And any soldier out there is doing it for the right reasons. They're doing it to protect their country, to protect their families. They're doing it for the flag and for God Almighty.
Yeah.
So.
Well, a lot of people, they take care of their physical life, and you went through you were overweight and you shaped up and all that kind of stuff, and they take care of their emotional life and they take care of their mental life, but they forget about the spiritual life.
Yeah, you can't do that.
And that's a very key part of everything.
It is the thing.
Yeah.
I mean, we may not want to accept that or believe it. I know when God came knocking on my heart and said, open up the door and let me in, best thing that ever happened to me. said, I will enter in, and we will sit down, and we will dine together, and we will be together. And I will always be there for you. I will always be there. And I know where I'm going when I die.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to guess. I know exactly where I'm going.
It's
I
one-
don't deserve it. It's by grace, by God's grace that I'm saved. I don't deserve it. I'm a sinner, just like everybody else.
That was the greatest gift my dad ever gave me. Because when he was gone, that was the only thing I was concerned about. And he came through for me on that. It's a great gift to give to your family.
Yes, it is. It is. It's the one gift that everybody should be hoping and praying for, and should try to give to every individual they run into. They should, especially your family. Yeah. Everybody needs to know the Lord Jesus Christ. And they need to know Almighty God. And they need to know God doesn't make junk. He's never made any junk ever. Everybody is somebody.
Yeah.
And we all have our stories. And I hope the stories that I'm telling are the ones that make other people realize that the lives they have are worth living, and that people are worth loving and taking care of. And the world we live in is worth taking care of because God wants us to do that.
You've had a pretty remarkable life, and you survived some pretty harrowing parts of your life. Done well with it. Is there anything in life you haven't gotten around to doing yet that you'd like to do? Go to the moon, or just if you had all the health and money that you need.
All the health and all the money.
Yeah.
Well, right now, with my health as such as it is, at 84, I'm in fairly good health, but I've got everything under the sun wrong with me, and the medical profession's propped me up and kept me alive. So, but yeah, there's things that I would really love to do that I probably am not going to get to do right now. I've done a lot of them because of my wife and I. We said, well, let's do this while we're still working. So we went on cruises. We've been to Sweden. We've been overseas. We've been to other countries. We've done a lot of those things that I would say I wanted to do right now. We've already done them. I've got to see France, Germany, Italy. I've been to Sweden. I've been to Norway, Denmark. I've been all through that area. I've been to a couple of the Russian satellite countries.
Yeah.
I've been everywhere, and not because I joined the Corps, because the Corps didn't send me. They would have.
You're pretty much a homebody there.
Yeah, they didn't. I actually put them for every station you could think of when I was in the Corps, because I wanted to go places.
Yeah.
Every base that was overseas, and they had me right where they wanted me, right in the middle of that Mojave Desert.
Must have been doing a good job.
Evidently. I tried to do my best.
Well, we always ask our veterans to say a few words for posterity. Again, any words of wisdom or personal philosophy that's kind of carried you through in life?
Yeah, what personal philosophy that's carried through me in life? Yes. Always be grateful. Always be kind. Always have a cheerful countenance, and always have a smile for everybody you meet. And always, always treat people with respect, because you want to be treated with respect. And we can all sit down and have conversations. We can have differences, and we can come to a consensus how to solve our problems without hatred and without violence. We don't need it. There's only times we need it is when we face an enemy that has so much hatred for us that he won't give in. And that's what happened with Iran.
Yeah.
And let's don't let that happen to this nation. We don't need to hate each other because one's red and one's blue. One's in one party and one's another. I don't need to hate you, and you don't need to hate me. We need to work together to make our lives better and our country a better place.
I've known you for a while, and you've lived that philosophy very, very well.
Well, thank you.
So before Jackson, I want to thank you for this interview and for your service to our
Thank you,
country.
sir.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for doing it.